Hello and welcome back to Payday 2 101. This is my new General Enforcer build for the post-Fugitive patch. This build is made to be easy to use for new players and to let players test out different playstyles to see what they like. This build may not be as tanky as a player dozer build, but I promise you'll get the full Enforcer experience. Before we get into the actual Enforcer perks here, let's go into the mandatory stuff in the other trees for this. In Mastermind, we just pick up Mastermind unlocked, and we ace Endurance for our stamina and ace Cable Guy. These are just general things that are very useful. Leadership aced you might also want to invest in if you want to modify this build a little bit, but if you have a dedicated team and someone else has leadership aced, then you won't need it. For Technician, we've just picked up Nerves of Steel aced so that you can use your Steel Sight in Bleed Out. For Ghost, we have the regular mandatory things of Sprinter aced, Cat Burglar basic, Fast Hands aced, and Shinobi basic, especially important because you need that movement speed, you'll be slow. And for Fugitive, I'll explain this a little bit because, you know, Fugitive's new and there is no absolute standard for this. You need 4 skill points to get up. So what we're doing here is we took Daredevil Ace, which all around is generally a pretty weak skill. How often are you climbing things? How often are you using a zip line? It's not a skill that comes in handy very often and is considered kind of a waste of points. But we need something to ace, and because we're never using a ballistics vest, we're using stronger vests than that, we wouldn't get the bonus for acing Thick Skin. So instead we take basic Thick Skin just for the steadiness, we ace Duck and Cover so you will actually have some dodge when you're crouching in cover, which is useful, and mostly went to Fugitive so we can get basic Run and Gun for the movement speed, which again, it'll help make up for how slow and heavy your armor is. Let's get into the proper Enforcer skills now. God, Enforcers are fun. So we have Transporter aced, because everyone should. And we have Bullet Storm basic. This means after you deploy an ammo bag for 5 seconds, you shoot without depleting ammo. That means no reloading, no using up ammo, just shoot like crazy. We have this basic just because it was required to get to another tier. It's not an amazing skill, it's a bit spotty if anything. We also have basic Pumping Iron because we had some points left over. This will mean your melee attacks against non-special enemies do 50% more damage. This can actually be quite powerful. Although it's not worth acing so you do more damage against special enemies, just because how often is it a good idea to really swing a bat at a special enemy? Usually they're about to knock you down, tase you, or just bulldoze over you. It's just usually not a good idea. And plus in this build, you won't be using your average melee weapon, you'll actually be using your weapon butt, because this is a build that utilizes that. More on that later. We have Underdog aced, so that whenever there are 3 or more enemies within a vicinity around us, which is a fairly close one, you do 15% more damage and take 15% more damage. Because you're up close and personal, because this is a shotgun-heavy build, you're up close and personal a lot, this bonus will be activating constantly, so it'll help. Die Hard aced. The primary weapon in Bleed Out is kinda nice, although we'll likely mostly be using the shotgun while in Bleed Out to cover the immediate area. The 15% armor recovery rate is a big bonus. Next we have Shotgun Impact aced, so our stability with shotguns is up 25%, it's kinda nice. The ace though, 35% more damage with shotguns is massive. We have Stun Resistance aced, which is one of the best skills in the game. Ever since about a year back when they buffed Flashbangs, Flashbangs can completely wipe out your party. Having only half the effect of a flashbang, or rather half the duration of a flashbang, can be a make or break situation. We have Tough Guy basic. A lot of people debate this one. It's 50% less camera shake. I find it to be quite useful. A lot of people aren't big into it. It's a 1-point investment to get up another tier. I think it's safe to do. Next we have Shotgun CQB basic, so we reload our shotguns 50% faster. This is massive. The aced is going to your Steel Sight, 125% faster. It rarely comes in handy. There's a little debate about it, but for the most part, people agree that just basic is what you need. We have the Ammunition Specialist aced. This is nice, you'll be the only guy on the team who'll need to bring ammo bags. You'll have 2 instead of 1, and they contain double ammo. Your ammo bags will be able to supply an entire party for a very long time if you do this, unless you're in very special circumstances where a lot of people are using very, very ammo-heavy weapons like, say, the Thanatos, which is a very rare specialty weapon anyway. Nice thing though is this has synergy with Fully Loaded, where you will be using your own ammo bags less. It'll be more so for the benefit of the rest of your team, unless of course you take a portable saw, but we'll get into that later. If you have aced Ammunition Specialist, no one else on the team needs to bring ammo bags. You've got that covered for everyone. We took Berserker Aced. This is usually a standard thing on Death Wish difficulty, but if you want the Enforcer experience, this is something I recommend you take and see if you like it. On Basic, when your health is below 25%, and the 25% isn't as easy to gauge as it may look. When it looks like it's 25%, let it drop a little bit lower before you let yourself armor up, just to get that bonus. You'll do 250% more melee and saw damage. This lets you single tap your mouse when using a portable saw on deposit boxes to open it, using half the saw blade ammo. Very important. And your melee damage is up 250%, that stacks with the 50 here, so you do triple damage on melee attacks, which can be a lifesaver. And on Ace, you also do double damage with all of your guns. This is a huge deal, where you're, as long as you keep yourself decently healthy below that point of being careful to always go into cover when your armor is low, after your health is low, you can retain double damage for a long time, which will of course stack with your awesome shotguns, which are powerful, your 35% damage with shotguns, and later your overkill for an extra an extra 75% damage. We'll get into that in a moment. We take the portable saw because if you're high level Enforcer, you've got to. Never ace this, the extra saw blade is worthless. But Basic, where you can take a primary buzzsaw to open up deposit boxes and doors very quickly, is very, very nice. Also good for killing non-Skulldozer bulldozers, although it's debatably a waste of a blade. You wouldn't bring a buzzsaw on a mission where you're not using it for utility. Never use a portable saw primarily as a weapon. Next, we have Fully Loaded Aced. On Basic, we have 25% more ammo for all guns, other than, of course, the buzzsaw. This is quite substantial. And the huge one here, on Ace, pickup rate, 175% more ammo pickup. That also stacks with our perks, which we'll get into later in the perk trees. But this means, with this and the perk trees, you're getting more than double ammo on pickups, which means you will very rarely go to your ammo bag. Especially considering you're using shotguns, you're up close, you'll be able to pick up the ammo very easily, meaning that those ammo bags are basically just for the rest of your party. Which means they will never be asking you for ammo, which is great after you put down the ammo bags. Finally, to top this off, we have Aced Iron Man, which means we can wear the improved combined tactical vest, which is the heaviest armor in the game, and of course the strongest, which is why we don't use Thick Skin Aced, because this is a combined tactical vest, not a ballistics vest. And with Aced, not only can you shoot from the hip while sprinting, which is incredible with shotguns, but when you melee a shield, they'll actually get stunned and knocked back with force, as if you were to have thrown a grenade or shot a heat-treated round. This is why you take the weapon butt as your melee weapon, because it is the fastest to recover from and quickly shoot, giving you the most time to charge a shield, smash it, and then quickly shotgun the guy the second the shield is out of the way and you can get him in the body. Lastly, we have one of the best skills in the game, Basic Overkill. Although it applies to the buzzsaw too, you're mainly using this for the shotgun. When you get a kill with your shotgun for 5 seconds, you have 75% more damage from your shotgun. Kill the weakest guy in the room, then slaughter everyone else. If you have Berserker Aced and you have low health, that's 175% more damage on your shotgun for every shot you're shooting after you killed someone. And remember, that timer resets. If you shotgun someone, you get overkill active, and then you kill another guy with that damage bonus, it resets back to 5 seconds. As long as you keep killing, it's gonna stay active, and you will be an absolute meat grinder. Onto the perks now. What we have picked here, although armor is a nice one for this, we're going muscle. We want you to have the full Enforcer experience. So again, this one, this one, this one, and this one, those are all skills that every tree gets, and I went over them in the previous video in the playlist if you want to check that out. That is the general mastermind build for post-Fugitive. So check that out if you want to see about those skills, but we'll just go into the unique ones here. 10% more health. Awesome, just more health. Always safe, always safe. Meat Shield, you're 15% more likely to be targeted when next to your crew members. This is really important because you've got the crazy heavy armor, you've got auto health, you want to take the bullets, not your allies. This is what's keeping your medic who's behind you, making sure people stay up, nice and healthy. Next, we have an additional 30%. That stacks over 40% more health now. Next, we have Disturbing the Peace with light machine guns, submachine guns, and sniper rifles. Weirdly enough, not assault rifles, not shotguns. You spread panic amongst your enemies. You'll never be doing this with a submachine gun because you will be using a shotgun primary, and you may have a sniper on some missions, but light machine gun, especially on Death Wish, you'll probably be using that every once in a while depending on the mission. This will even go into bursts of uncontrollable fear, which can be quite good for actually taking a lot of the fire off your team. An additional 40% health for 800-pound gorilla, as well as your higher chance of getting quality items. This brings you up to 90% health. That is a lot of health. Now you've got to imagine, what if you have a crew chief with you, giving you even more health bonuses, like hostage situation? You could potentially easily have over double your health, along with having very, very heavy armor. You'll be very hard to kill as long as you play the game smart. Onto the weapons. For the first primary weapon, and to no one's surprise, the Car 4. You'll likely only be taking this on missions that have medium to long distance often coming up, where you might need to shoot snipers or something like that, but even if it does get close range, this is still a very good weapon. Just keep in mind that your secondary will be a shotgun, so it is kind of nice to have something long-ranged as your primary on those bigger maps. We have the exact same things as in the last video, so we have the long barrel, competitor's compensator, gazelle grip, military laser module, pro grip or rubber grip, they're basically the same, quad stack mag, speculator sight, war-torn stock, and exotique receiver. And you come out with this. Next, we have the Predator 12-gauge shotgun for primaries. This one on paper doesn't look very good. It looks like it's just worse than the Rhinefield. However, it has triple the fire speed, which means it shoots roughly as fast as you click. So it's a good clearing shotgun and alternative for the locomotive. Basically, it allows you to have two locomotive-like weapons. So if you get in the situation where you're out of shots in your locomotive, you could reload 1 or 2 shots and continue to fight, or you could take that extra bit of time to switch weapons and have another full set of shots. When you combine this with your fully loaded perk where you pick up a lot of extra ammo, you could afford to also take the triple-aught buckshot with this. So we have triple-aught buckshot, extended magazine, which is very important for this gun, shark teeth nozzle, military laser module, we have a speculator sight, and we have the solid stock. And you come out with a pretty stable clearing shotgun, capable of firing very, very fast with very, very little recoil. One of the real advantages of this game, despite not having as high of stability as, say, the Rhinefield, is that perception-wise, it has very, very little stability, and really all that matters on stability is the perception, as it's about aiming. For the final primary, we have the KSP light machine gun. This is usually the most popular light machine gun, as a lot of the light machine guns are basically more or less the same, other than in modifications. But this one gets you the most ammo, most magazine size, and the most potential damage per second. With this, we've got the long barrel to give it some much-needed accuracy and stability, competitor's compensator, railed foregrip, military laser module, and the solid stock. This would be a great weapon for in very close-range missions where you need to defend an area, for making sure that you're able to just lock down the area for long amounts of time. This is very useful in, say, the top room of rats. Lastly, for secondaries, and by secondaries I mean secondary, locomotive 12-gauge shotgun. You'll be using this as a primary, more than you'll be using it as a secondary. This is the most important weapon to any enforcer. This is still the crowned champion of shotguns, the locomotive 12-gauge. Although some high-up people in the community do believe that for Death Wish, sometimes the judge gun on certain builds should be used, the locomotive is always a solid choice. So, for ammunition, we take no special ammunition, shark teeth nozzle, military laser module, rubber grip or pro grip, extended magazine, speculator sight, war-torn stock, and shell rack. And not only are you able to kill people in rapid succession very easily and very quickly, but with this combination of mods, you come out with exactly 6 accuracy, which is what you want with a shotgun if you're not using armor-piercing slugs or flechette rounds. Because when you have no special kind of ammo, you're using double-aught buckshot, which means you're shooting pellets. 6 accuracy has been calculated, unless it's been changed and Overkill's never told us, which, you know how their patch notes are. 6 accuracy is the sweet spot where there's the highest percent chance that at least one pellet will hit the dead center of the screen, which is where you're aiming. And as long as one pellet hits the opponent, they take the damage of all the pellets. It doesn't matter if 10 pellets hit a guy or 1 pellet, it does the same amount of damage, and if one of those pellets hits the head, then it deals headshot bonus. So, all that really matters to you is that at least one pellet hits the dead center of the screen, which is why 6 accuracy is what you're aiming for when using any kind of buckshot. This achieves that. That's it for this episode of Payday 2 101. On the next episode, likely going to be doing a new technician build. If you're interested in this series and would like to watch more, a link to the playlist will both be on screen, as well as in the description. This series is ever updating as new patches change the game, so I'll keep you guys up to date. If you're looking for some teammates to play with, why not join in my Steam group linked in the description. And if you want to keep up with me, I have my Facebook fan page and Twitter link down there as well. Feel free to request to talk about anything in the game, as long as I don't already have a video on it in the playlist, and I look forward to seeing everyone's feedback. If you want to see me play more Payday 2, click the video on the left to see a series, Payday 2 A Journey. And if you want to see a different game, the video on the right is of my newest Let's Play. That's it for this video. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, have a nice day.